Okay, we want to call this meeting to order, and on behalf of myself and Region 1 Director, Max Catwinkle, I want to welcome everybody to our fall meeting. Like Bob said, if you will, just sign in to the comments section. That's our sign-in sheet for the day. And so we want to begin our agenda with the introduction of our state sponsors. We have 3 today, and we'll go in this order. John Rouse will be first, then Brian Shanklin, and then Ricky Stark. So I want to introduce John Rouse, friend of many years, from Symmetry Sports Construction. So John, we'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it very much, and it's a privilege to be with you today. I want to thank you all for what you've done the last almost 2 years. In the most challenging times that we've experienced, at least in my lifetime and career. And I retired after 37 years in June of 2019. So right before the COVID world began, and good Lord shined down upon me and got me out just in time. So I'm grateful for that. I retired as superintendent in 2019. But prior to that, I coached for 27 years and honored to do so and privileged to know many of you. So just thank you on behalf of Symmetry Sports as well as AstroTurf and me personally. Thank you for what you do. I also want to take an opportunity to thank THSADA as well as THSCA and the UIL. The work that y'all have done to keep kids playing, keep kids in school, keep kids safe. It has been remarkable, to say the least, in unprecedented times. So thank you for what you've done. Tell you a little bit about Symmetry Sports Construction. We're a full-service sports construction firm based out of Mount Pleasant, Texas. We're the exclusive distributor for AstroTurf products in the state of Texas. Turf fields, tracks, tennis courts, even pickleball now. So many of you are becoming familiar with that. We're proud to partner with AstroTurf, who you probably already know was the beginning of the industry back in 1965, and is the worldwide leader in sports surfacing. So we're really proud. I'm proud to be associated with this group because of the reputation that we have and that they've worked hard to develop over the years. We're lifelong partners. Once we partner with you, we're can to can't from beginning to end and beyond. So that relationship is fostered and continued to develop long after a project is done. So I encourage you to talk with our customers, go walk our fields, our tracks, and just see for yourself the kind of job and work that we do. We're really proud. I'm going to try and share a screen with you just so that I can show you a few of the fields that we've done across the state. So Bob, tell me if I'm there.
Looks good, John.
All right, looks like we made it. Okay, so I'm just going to run through this very quickly so you have an opportunity to kind of see some of the fields that we've done. Feel free to contact any of those folks. I know I visited with Coach Halfley there at Wichita Falls. I know they got a big project. I was up there a week or 2 ago for the pre-bid. They're going to have some beautiful facilities up there with 2 new high schools. So congratulations, Coach, on getting that project started. Tom Ball down around the Houston area. If you haven't seen their stadium, their football stadium, I encourage you to see it. It's a beautiful facility. Again, we did their baseball, softball at both high schools as well as their stadium. Eanes ISD down around where Bob's neck of the woods is. Viter, and so we're all over the state, and I tell you that because even though we're based out of Mount Pleasant, We've got 5 fields done in Pecos. We've done some fields in Lubbock. So we're all over the state. This is just a beautiful shot of Melissa ISD. I would encourage you to look at their indoor if you're interested in building an indoor. It's a beautiful facility. Palestine, beautiful facility. We're just finishing up their track as well. And I have to put Parrish in just because of the uniqueness of it. We actually hear people make comments because it's in the flight path at Love Field. And so people can actually see this field as they're flying into Love Field, and just a unique, beautiful facility. Nederland, we finished that about a year ago. They're very pleased with it. This field has the cooling infill with a Brock pad under it. And that Brock fill is the cooling infill, keeps your fields about 40 degrees cooler ambient temperature. Corpus Christi ISD. And it just shows some of the different designs that people use, from the solid to the alternating panels every 5 yards, alternating panels every 10 yards, just the uniqueness. I actually are doing one right now that actually has 584 dots on it. Not a game field, but a practice field. In addition to football lines, soccer lines, 584 dots from goal line to goal line, sideline to sideline for the band to use. Something I had never seen before, but very interesting. Brazos Christian. Prosper Rock Hill, we did all of these fields as well as the track. And I'll tell you the interesting thing, and it's kind of hard to see on here, but the baseball field has on the wall, the outfield wall, looks like ivy. It's not. It's a metal fencing, but it's textured and looks like ivy. It's a beautiful, beautiful fence. This is a beautiful field. I think just the colors pop and they're so vibrant and brilliant. This also has the cooling infield and the pad. In Fort Bend Christian, again, this is every 5 yard alternating panels. Llano, which is just a beautiful sunset. So we just want to encourage you to give us an opportunity, see what we have to offer. I couldn't be more proud to be a part of this organization. When you have been in education and served your whole career, it's important that you continue that character and integrity that you built a career establishing. So I'm privileged to be a part. And I just want to thank again everyone on behalf of Symmetry and AstroTurf for all that you've done, all that you continue to do. UIL also for getting all those championship games in last year that we weren't sure we were going to be able to get in. And I'm just proud to be associated with all of you. So thank you for your time. God bless you. Stay well. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Our next state sponsor is Brian Franklin with Musco Sports Lighting.
How's everybody doing today? A little different than John. I don't know if you can tell, but I haven't previously retired. I've been with Musco for about a little over a year now. I want to say, thank you for allowing Musco to be a sponsor of this awesome organization. We love being a part of it. Love these type of conferences, Zoom calls, as well as attending these shows too. Some of you who don't know Musco, we are a worldwide leader in sports lighting. We're based out of Iowa. We in a little town called Oskaloosa, and then our manufacturing plants in Iowa as well. Everything's American made. And then in Texas, we have a few different reps. I myself, I cover down to Abilene, up to Wichita Falls, and then down to about Brownwood. So I have some of the districts that are on this call right now. I know I've met some of you guys, and then I cover some of the area. The other guy, that's Mitchell Stockton. He's based out of Lubbock, Texas. And I know some of you guys probably know him as well. But we appreciate, the business over the years. We continue to want to make your facilities a better place, not only with lighting, but everything, especially with the lighting, better facilities for players, fans, and the environment. And that's a big thing with the LED lighting these days. Not only that, I do want to, I'll make this quick. I do want to show a quick little video. Most of you do know us, in the sports lighting industry, but with the day and age, everybody's improving technology and coming out with new things. So we do have a product called Musco Vision, which is sports broadcasting. So I'll play a quick YouTube video, tell you a quick, little clip about it, and then we can go from there. Can everybody see this? So, here you go.
Brian, we have a really good picture, but do we have audio on this also?
Oh, is the audio not playing?
No, we don't hear the audio.
Oh, I'm not sure why not. Well, I won't waste your time trying to figure that out. But if you saw that, because the brief clip, Musco Vision is a sports broadcasting system that goes for baseball, softball, one camera on the backstop, one camera in the outfield. For football, soccer, it's going to be one camera either on the press box or if it's a standalone field. We do supply the full. I know there's other broadcasting out there. The way Musco Vision is a little different. The customer pays for the product and installation up front, and then once it's installed, it's just kind of like our lights. If you do have them, we have them on a Control Link app. You go and schedule what time your games are coming on. And then that artificial intelligence, the camera comes on and it starts the videotaping and then it starts recording. The difference with us is every subscription that is bought, that is split with the district. So right up front, Friday night game, you have all these parents and all these family members, buying these subscriptions to watch their kid play. That's immediately split 70-30. So the district's going to take 70% of the revenue of that, and then Musco takes 30% just to continue that, the streaming hours and everything like that to keep the system running. So that's a new product we have going on. Just kind of wanted to mention that to everybody on the call today. Other than that, that's kind of it. Just want to introduce myself as I am a little newer to Musco. Been here over a year. Met some of you. Continue to meet more of you, and looking forward to it. Thanks again for allowing us to be a part of this organization. We really appreciate all the business that we received from these different districts over the years, and we look forward to continue working with you all and making your facilities a better place. So thanks again.
Thank you, Brian. Our next state sponsor is Honest Game, and with Honest Game is Ricky Stark. So Ricky, we'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Phil. First, I also want to thank the association, not just for the recent partnership, but for having us on. We are incredibly excited and thankful for the support and what we're doing. Real quick, for any of you who are still kind of in the green or not fully sure of who we are or what we do, there are just north of 1 million student athletes a year that are academically ineligible to play college sports. We are addressing that through our technology. We are the only technology that transforms high school transcripts and test scores into trusted compliance-ready reports. So we support student athletes, but we also support administrators in terms of saving them time and risk, most specifically through verifiable data. So there's no manual entry, there's no self-report, there's nothing being left to the devices of a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid entering in whether or not they're eligible or their grades are up to par, because I don't know too many that'll be completely honest in that regard. So what I'm going to do, just to be mindful of everyone's time, go through a quick couple minutes on the tool. I'll put my email in the chat, fire over questions. Courtney from our team is on as well. She can answer them. Otherwise, reach out to either of us after the fact. I'd be curious just even to know how any of you are doing this currently. Usually, generally, it's 1 to 2 people in-house handling this, which can be a bit overwhelming because the NCAA is very reactive and not proactive, and it's ever changing. And that can be incredibly difficult to stay on top of, in addition to, ensuring that students are graduating, but student athletes are also on track to being a qualifier for whatever division it is, D1, D2, or NAI, because the requirements are all different. So I'll pull up my screen here quick. I will log in. So I'll just use, where's one sec. There we go. So we'll just use a high school, and I'm just going to use round numbers for easy math. So let's say my daughter goes to a high school, 100 student athletes. In this example, let's say I'm the athletic director. So depending who I am when I say I can see all of the student athletes in my school or in my district, however it's set up. I can see their qualifier status at a glance, sorted by color. So full qualifier, partial qualifier, non-qualifier. I can sort by NCAA GPA and by grad year, however I want to sort. I can also delegate. So if I want my girls basketball coach, my football coach, my girls lacrosse coach to be able to access their freshman through senior student athletes, I can do so. We take information, by information, I mean transcript and test scores from IT. We plug right into the learning management system. So there's no manual work involved here. We take that, and our tech takes that information and turns it into what you're seeing here, which is what we call a care plan, a college athletic report on eligibility. So the school's logo would go here. In this example, again, depending who I am, whether I'm mom, I'm dad, I'm student athlete, I'm AD, I can see every course. In this example, let's say my daughter Ambrielle has taken thus far in high school, and whether or not it's an approved NCAA course or not. And for any of you that might not know, every high school in the country has a different NCAA approved list of NCAA approved courses, and that needs to be updated regularly, yearly. And so if for whatever reason we find a course that doesn't match up with the portal, we flag it, we make note of it. We actually will handle that validation on behalf of the high school. In this example, I can see the lock. My daughter's going into her senior year, so there's suggested 10-7 lock courses. I can reference NCAA GPA with credits completed in course subject areas. And then as mom, dad, student, AD again, I can interact with this sliding scale to see where do I want to get to feel good about test scores? Where do I need to get to even meet qualifier status? And then short-term goals. If my daughter can get these grades and these core courses this semester, this is how it'll impact her NCAA GPA. And then I can toggle between D1, D2, NAIA, and then informational for Division III and junior college, just so every student athlete knows it's not Division I or bust, which, good luck getting that across to most 16 or 17-year-olds. So we are not a recruiting service. I want to make sure that's very, very, very clear. And I also want to make sure that it's very clear that there is no self-report manual entry again. This is completely automated, coming from a verifiable source. One of our advisors is John Shire, soon to be the head coach at Duke. In his words, it's a risk mitigation tool. Can I and should I be recruiting this student athlete, and why? I can download it in PDF form, share it with college coaches, upload it to any tools I'm using. Courtney, who's on our team, is on this call, former AD of 15 years. College coach would come in who was recruiting a player. She'd download this, hand it to them. It tells them right then and there, is this kid even going to be able to play at our school academically, and where should I prioritize them in that recruiting trail? So it is a way at the administrator level. We want to automate and save time. This isn't something that anyone should have to be doing by hand, because frankly, it's time consuming and it's pretty risky. We want to take time off so that a counselor, an athletic director, whoever can sit down with a student athlete and actually have time to advise them, opposed to having to do this themselves, again, one by one, pen and paper. So that is, I want to be mindful of time. That is a quick look. I'm happy to answer any questions after the fact. If anyone wants to shoot me or Courtney an email, I'll put it in the chat. And thank you again for the time.
I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Symmetry Sports, Musco Lighting, and Honest Game. Thank you guys for sharing with us today. Our association truly appreciates the partnership and the relationship, and I know you've got a lot of things to do, but we appreciate y'all taking the time to share with us today. So thank you very much. Next on our agenda, I want to introduce Sam Tipton. Many of you know Sam, and Sam is the Executive Director of the Texas Girls Coaches Association. And so Sam's going to share some words with us now. Go ahead, Sam.
Phil, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with the Region 1, Region 2 athletic directors. I just hate that I'm not able to come by in person and see each and every one of you. I will get to see some of you at a legislative council here about October 17th and 18th. Texas Girls Coaches Association is very appreciative of the athletic directors of the state of Texas, and really did not realize how appreciative we were until we went through the last 15 months that we went through. And with your support, we're still standing and swinging. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been on this face of the earth with what has happened. I want to remind you that on Texas Girls Coaches Association, our nomination entry membership date is November 1st. So please get the information to the coaches of girls athletics that for them to be eligible to receive honors themselves, or their student athletes to be able to receive honors, or their cheerleaders to receive honors, they must be a member of TGCA by November 1. Also remember this, as an athletic director, if you're a member of Texas High School Athletic Directors Association, TGCA gives you a free membership. We want you to see what we're doing, why we're doing it, and any information that we're sending out to the coaches. If you're in our database as a member, then you're going to get that same information. And if we ever put anything out there that you don't think's kosher, pick up the phone and call me, because we're dependent upon you to guide us in the directions we need to go. One thing that we're very proud of, our board of directors passed it last spring. We're getting ready to expand what we do for soccer. On soccer, we've been doing Coach of the Year, we've been doing Athlete of the Year, we've been doing Academic All-State. We're adding All-State to all conferences in soccer this year. We're also putting together a soccer advisory committee, and hoping in the next 2 to 3 years, we will also be adding a soccer all-star game to our summer clinic. So this is something that we haven't done before, but we feel like with the influx of soccer coaches that are being members of our association, we need to open that window a whole lot more. If any of you athletic directors have a soccer coach that you feel like would be very instrumental in helping develop what we're going to do for soccer in the next few years, please notify me their name, and they will be looked at and given due consideration, because it's coming from an athletic director. I don't have a whole lot of other things to say. Basically, going into Legislative Council October 17th and 18th, we don't have any major proposals we're going to present to the council. We are in total support of the softball, baseball issue concerning when we can do playoff games, and we're in total support of the UIL on that. We're very appreciative. I know it doesn't affect a lot of the people that are on this panel right here today, but we're very appreciative of the fact that we did get the 1A basketball to get 4 teams in the playoffs, which eliminates a bye situation, also gives them more credibility in trying to get games when everybody else is doing 4 teams in the playoffs. Thank you all so much for what you do, but really thank you so much for how you do it. You're a special group. You look at things on a 360 because you're not a coach, you're an administrator. And we need that guidance, and we need that help, and we need you leading us in the directions we need to go. Thank you so much, Bob, for allowing me to be on the agenda. Phil, thank you. And wow, it's good to see my Region 1 and Region 2. It gets pretty ugly down here in Austin, Texas, and it's really ugly right now today. Y'all keep smiling. We'll see you down the road. If we can help you in any way, please give us a call. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. We appreciate you. Next on our agenda, we'll go through our committee reports. And so we will start with membership. Turn it over to Mark Baker.
Good morning, everybody. You hear me okay, Phil? Yes, sir. Oh, thank you. Just a little bit about membership. We met the coaching school or the AD's conference. Membership is growing, which is a great thing for the association. Just want to remind to everybody, take advantage, multi-schools districts or multi-schools in the district, please take advantage of your membership, group membership that we have. Also, we're going to focus on trying to get some of the smaller schools, coaches that are head coach / AD to come into the association. Just need to, I know Region 1's big, Region 2 is huge. I mean, we go all the way from Vernon to Brady. And so some of those guys, when I send out stuff to them, get a lot of emails that kick back because those guys have taken different jobs. So by word of mouth, if you can kind of spread the word about getting into the association, and we want to focus on getting some of those small school guys to come in and invite them to the state conference. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Next, we have Andrea Fluman with publications.
Good morning. Our next publication is coming out on October, well, it's not coming out, but our deadline is October 22nd, post-legislative council. Coach Dowling tells me the one that came out this summer is the most highly viewed one online, especially those outside of the state of Texas. We had more hits. So pretty exciting about that. We've got a full committee. We've got some good articles coming down. Dina Scott out of Fort Bend is working on one from the Touchdown Club of Houston. And then Dina Bozier working with covering coaches that either have kids in the program or even have gone through the system and are now coaching for the school district. So October 22nd, I will tell you from my side, if you've got a great team tennis picture, cross country, golf, anything from these fall sports that we're closing out so that I can work on that back cover artwork. If you've got a great picture of one of your teams, please submit it so that I can possibly get it in on that artwork for that publication. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Andrea. Next is from the Athletic, Jim Garfield.
Good morning. All right, so spoke to Andre Walker, our committee chair. He wanted me to remind everybody about the reclassification and realignment coming up. Also, we want to just mention, and we want everybody to get into the UIL portal and check out the varsity district contest, the school week exception when it comes to the COVID-19, our risk mitigation, our NILs, and then I think some of us have experienced this already, Senate Bill 1697, where the parent has the option to hold their student back. So we got to look at the eligibility requirements for them and on Senate Bill 1697. That's all I have, Phil.
Thank you, Jim. Next up from the awards committee is Toby Tucker.
Everybody, I'll be brief. Just a reminder that the awards nominations are now open. You can simply go to the THSADA website. Top right-hand corner, it says awards. Of course, Joe Bill Fox Award, Hall of Honor inductees, our NIAAA awards. So make sure you get in there, nominate some folks. Let's recognize each other in the job that others do. And if you didn't attend the awards ceremony at AD conference, I'd highly recommend you to do that. That's a great afternoon with people. It's great to hear the stories, hear the nominees, and see our peers recognized. So I'd encourage you to do that. So get online, make those nominations. They're open now.
Thank you, Toby. Next with the Policy Committee, Scott Halfley.
Thanks, Phil. Not too much on policy this week. A reminder to everyone that the Athletic Director Compensation Survey is on the THSADA website. I encourage everyone to take a look at that. Obviously, Legislative Council coming up in a couple of weeks. Hope to see everyone in Austin. They do not have a site settled in on just yet. And then for those of you who can't make it to Legislative Council, there'll be a Zoom meeting statewide to provide a wrap up of everything that is decided at Legislative Council. And that is it.
Thank you, Scott. And we'll end with the Officials Committee, Del Van Cox.
Thanks, Phil. I've got some notes from the Sports Officials Committee meeting that will be sent to the Legislative Council as recommendations. The first topic will be timeline for pay officials. The SOC recommends that the timeline for the officials be paid after a contest be changed from 45 to 30 days. The game day administrator, the SOC committee recommends that the UIL study producing a game day training video to create learning opportunities for anyone that is a game day administrator. Water polo flat feed schedule. I know everybody's lining up for that one. The SOC committee recommended to accept the THSADA's proposal for a flat water fee for water polo. This would remain until an increase is approved. The study proposal for officials pay increase. The SOC committee recommends to the UIL that to get all necessary parties together for the SOC meetings in the spring to create a long-term plan for officials pay increases. If you've got any thoughts or recommendations for that, please contact myself to be able to input that into those meetings, or JJ Johnson up at Lubbock. He can help you to insert those that information for future studies. Also, again, all of these were passed unanimously in the Sports Officials Committee to be recommended to the State Legislative Council coming up. So these are all recommendations. Also for future topics is the scratch policy for scratching officials. So that's the topic for discussion. If anybody's got any concerns about those areas for future use, please contact myself or JJ Johnson up in Lubbock. Thanks, Phil.
We appreciate every one of you folks that are leading those committees and the work that you do. Next on our agenda, we'll go to regional business. The first topic is going to be House Bill 4545, and give you a little background on this. I had no clue what this was until Mike Meeks called me in August and said, "What are y'all doing about House Bill 4545?" My answer was, I don't know, because I don't even know what you're talking about. So after I did a little research and my discussion with him, I found out that it could possibly affect our athletic structure. And so I inserted myself in those discussions that were happening in our district. And so I've asked a few people to kind of just give us some input on what, if any, that they're doing in their districts about this bill. And the bill essentially, in a nutshell, is a bill to help with learning loss caused by COVID. And so I'll start with you, Tracy. Tracy Borchardt.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Bogart from Ector County ISD in Odessa. And Phil, I got your back on that because I felt the same way when Mike reached out and said House Bill 4545, and I said, "What's that?" So I kind of did the same thing. So I've got you on that one. So let me kind of tell you where we're at right now in Odessa, and I'll be real honest with everyone. Our test scores, our situation with our academic ratings are not good. And so right now, and I can give you a little bit of a head count on this, is that, you know, we're a school district of 32,000, a little over 32,000, and I have 6 middle schools and 2 high schools. And we have 7,250 students that failed at least one test. And at the high school level, 2 high schools that we've had over 7,000 students fail at least one test. And so when House Bill 4545 rolled around and we're looking for the actual intervention of the accelerated learning piece as to what we're going to do with these kids moving forward. I pretty much just had to jump on board with CNI and go for whatever they needed us to do in the athletic end. And so ECISD is doing two things. One, we are offering a virtual style of learning, which is like, let's say, Imagine Math. Some of those pieces that the kid is going to sit down in front of a computer and be on a program. And then we also have the live tutorial piece to where they are going into classes, into tutoring, and having master teachers take over that and be a part of that tutorial cycle. So with that being said, the kids have an option and they can go back and forth. And keep in mind that once a kid is designated that they have to get this extra help, they have to have 30 hours. And so they have to have 30 hours completed by the end of the school year. And so 30 hours doesn't really sound like too many hours until you start looking at a kid that has to do 2 classes. Or possibly even the kid that has to do 3 classes. And then where in the world are we going to come up with all these hours? And at that point, it's on our time. And we know that. We also are offering in our middle schools right now, some double block classes. So they are able to accumulate some of those minutes in the double block classes. And so once these plans, and luckily, I can say that I'm fortunate enough to where our administration jumped on this back in the summertime, and they went ahead and pulled all these kids starting in June that we knew were already in a bind. And so they rolled in about probably, it was like 10,000 kids this summer in summer school to start this process. And so that was great for us because we didn't know for sure which direction we were going with all this, especially with this House bill, but we were able to get a jump on it. And it was our largest summer school we've ever had with the kids. And so a lot of our kids were like going to strength and conditioning, and then they were just going straight into the school after that. And it worked out pretty good. But what we're having to do, because they can't do this extra in their classes. And so like if a kid's sitting in reading, you can't do a pull out with that kid. You can't do anything extra with them. So it's basically falls into our time, the fine arts and athletic time. And so before school, after school, that these kids are having to hit these. And when the word was spoken that, well, we might have to start taking away athletic class periods, and not that you get a whole lot done in athletic class period, but the athletic class period is huge for the student athlete, the coach, the team, the big picture to it all. And so I said, well, I would rather, lose a couple of kids here and there in the morning after school rather than to take away the athletic period, because a lot of times that part of the day is the only time that coach is going to make that connection with that kid, just even make sure that they're, they're taking care of business, doing what they need to do, and they're where they're supposed to be. And so with our numbers, the way they look, and our academic rating is not good in Odessa. And so, I kind of feel like I'm a little bit, with my back up against the wall. And so we as a department as a whole, we've just kind of jumped in and started doing a lot of data digging ourselves, and our coaches are digging in now. And so, we're kind of pushing kids to go different directions. And luckily I have some great coaches too that have jumped on board with this process of being hired to help with the math situation and the science situation. And so, as of right now, we've rolled it out and it's there. And so now we're just kind of jumping on, making sure that our kids are hitting and keeping up with, hour to hour at getting all their hours taken care of. And it looks to me like this is going to be an ongoing cycle from here on out. So that's kind of where we are in Odessa right now.
Thank you, Tracy.
You bet.
Mike Meeks, tell us what you guys are doing in Lubbock, if any.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Yeah, right now, as we sit this minute, I think we're in a pretty good spot. Everything's pretty quiet and motoring on, but headed back to the summer when I reached out to some of you guys. I discovered it in one of my meetings with our superintendent. It's like, oh, by the way, have you heard of House Bill 4545? And I was just like y'all. I said no, and we were so focused on the homeschool bill, it seemed like at the time that, oh, by the way, this is what you're going to have to do. And my biggest fear to start off with is, dealing with this 30 minutes of instruction, that we were going to have athletics at the end of the day. Then we're going to have to all come back in for tutoring and then go back to athletics. That was my first impression. And I was like, oh no, that can't happen. That can't be done. So fortunately we were able to get our folks from CNI and our executive principals to our coaches meeting, because I told our superintendent, I said, we can help with the shock and awe, when our teachers roll in to the first time they report to school about, oh, this is what we're going to do. So our plan in Lubbock ISD is we built a 30-minute advisory period in between second and third period, which at first glance is, oh, you're going to extend the school day, or you're going to start earlier. We worked very hard about 3 years ago to align all of our schedules across town and look at start times and end times. And we were getting out of school, I think 3:55. But the result of that 30-minute period has added 15 minutes to the end of our school day. So we're actually getting out 15 minutes later than we were last year. But they shaved some time off of lunch, and they shaved some time off of passing periods to shorten that time. So within that 30-minute period each day, all the students are receiving instruction. Obviously, some need the accelerated learning, and some don't. For us in our school district, multi-high school, we have 4 high schools. We have 2,600 students that require accelerated learning. Okay, that translates to 77,790 hours of tutoring. And that's a lot. So some of our kids need it, and some don't. And that was the discussion. How do you do that? So we just added that time in the school day between second, third period, creating that advisory class. And then, now the discussion came to, well, who's going to do the tutoring? Well, the funds that have been available by the state, all of our teachers are receiving a $1,000 stipend at the end of January, and they'll receive another $1,000 stipend at the end of June after completing the lessons within that advisory classes. All the students that receive the lessons that need the accelerated learning are scripted lessons that have been developed by CNI. All the other students are receiving lessons on study skills, test-taking skills, social and emotional strategies, and general check-in and different tutoring. And some of them are actually using it as a study hall, built in there. But every kid is in that class. All our teachers are participating in that. Some are obviously in accelerated learning and some aren't. But on top of that, there's some tutoring opportunities that are available for our teachers after school that doesn't necessarily involve our kids in athletics, but they're actually, we're actually paying our teachers to be a part of that tutoring program. So from the beginning of school to now, I think it's going well. The end result is when we take all of our tests and see where we fit as a district, is, time will tell on how this really works out. So that's a brief description on what we're doing in Lubbock ISD.
Thank you, Mike. I asked Tracy and Mike to give their perspective, because these are large school districts that represent Region 1 and Region 2, and I also wanted to get the perspective of some smaller districts from our 2 regions. And so I'm gonna turn it over to you, Max, and tell us what you guys are doing at Lubbock Cooper ISD.
Thanks, Phil. It's really similar to what Mike and Tracy are talking about. I think we the group that's hit hardest by this is that your incoming freshmen who take 4 of those tests as 8th graders. And if you've got a student that, failed all 4 of those tests, that's a lot of minutes that they're going to have in tutorials. And that's in addition to adjusting to the high school life and being a freshman. And so that's a big challenge. And but we're doing a lot of the same things, like Tracy mentioned, on our middle school levels. We've built some double block classes. We call them labs, but they're basically double blocked algebra or math and ELAR classes. And so we can get the tutorials done in there. But the high school, we have the beginning of the day, a tutorial period that runs from 7:50 to 8:40. And if basically any of our kids that need tutorials or that you have to come in at 7:50. If you are passing everything or don't need anything, then your school day begins at 8:45. So that's what we're doing at the high school level. Hopefully, with summer school being back into the swing of things, we'll be able to get caught up on this coming year. But right now, we're scrambling like everybody else and trying to take care of our kids.
Thank you, Max. And we'll finish with Casey Pierce. Casey's with Breckenridge ISD. And so Casey, we'll turn it over and you can tell us what you guys might be doing about House Bill 4545.
Yes, sir. Our setup in Breckenridge has been established for a long time. We've always had that enrichment period that it was tied to the athletic period midday prior to lunch. So, as far as scheduling goes, we've decided following the first 6 weeks, we would start our enrichment with our high school kids. Fortunately, this past summer, the middle school principals attacked this head on for those 8th graders that would be coming to high school, and they got 25 hours in during the summer in a summer school session, and that was following our strength and conditioning. We kind of had our hands on those guys that were affected, so we were able to get that done. And then those freshmen will receive some additional hours, but really what we are targeting first and foremost, those sophomore and junior kids, especially those seniors that need to get those test scores improved and raised. We've got a student population of about 430, and about 275 of those students are in athletics. And so 65% of our student population is in the athletic building each day with us. So that enrichment period that we use for additional time as far as video or nutrition or visiting with those kids, we've been able just to push them back into the building on time to be able to go to those enrichment classes. And like some of you spoke, we've incentivized that pay for teachers to take those enrichment classes and teach those lessons. But it has not really disturbed our athletic period, and it's we've got some people in place, former coaches in our administration, that understand the importance of what we're trying to get done, and the fact that we've got so many hands on those kids, we can kind of pick and choose how we work it. And what we've done is segment those enrichment times, and we're only pulling about 18 to 20 kids per 6 weeks to get their 30 hours. So it's going to work through Christmas. Of course, they'll have an opportunity to retest in December, but we'll see how that goes.
Thank you, Coach Pierce. The next part of our agenda deals with strategies for retaining coaches in your district and attracting new coaches. I think this is something that our 2 regions, because of where we sit in the state, I would think we all kind of have some of the same concerns here. I know it's difficult for us. And so I've asked three folks to share what they might be doing in their district to tackle these challenges. So I'll start with Scott Hapley in Wichita Falls ISD.
Thanks, Phil. Hiring coaches that's the one thing that we all do still that has a direct impact on kids. And so I think all of us take it very serious when it's time to try to hire a head coach in any sport. We want people who inspire and challenge the assistant coaches and the kids. But in Wichita Falls, God's not leading too many people to live here. So we got to work pretty hard to go out and find good coaches that want to move to Wichita Falls. And so for me, it's been a blessing. I came in with a new superintendent who trusts me to go out and find our coaches. The one thing that we were able to do was create a standard across our 3 schools so that every head coach, every football coordinator, head volleyball, and both head basketball coaches get a 3rd athletic period to go to the junior highs every single day, so that when we go out and recruit, it's not different between the 3 campuses. And we're able to tell people exactly what they're going to get from the school district and the support they're going to receive. And I think probably the one thing that I feel like we do a great job on is before you come and interview, you've been fully vetted. And I've already met with HR, and then I call each candidate and we negotiate a salary before they interview. And my process is I don't want anybody to interview for the job who's going to turn it down. And so whether we're talking about a head football coach, a head basketball coach, whatever sport, all of the numbers have been negotiated. They know the athletic periods. They know everything there is about the facilities, the kids that are coming back. We put together a great informational packet about the team that they're going to be interviewing for. We don't have large committee interviews. When you come to interview for a job, you meet with me, the high school principal, and the middle school principal, and that's it. And then we'll have the middle school coordinator take them on a tour of the high school and the middle school athletic facilities, which right now in Wichita Falls doesn't take very long. So we move through that, and there's no second interviews. We make a decision. We interview everybody in one day, and that job is offered that night. And so for us, it's preparation and trying to get as much information to the candidates and find people who are going to move here and take these jobs. Once we have them here, we face the same challenge everybody else. How do we pay them? We look for ways. We pay coaches to be game administrators now to try to help supplement their income. We look at a variety of ways to try to get more money in their pocket and let them know that we care about them and we appreciate all the work they do. But, I hope somebody on this panel's got other information, because I need help, because it's hard to hire and it's hard to keep them, especially as close as we are to the Metroplex. They can make a lot more money. So, but those are a couple of things that we do.
Thank you, Scott. Rodney Chant in San Angelo. Tell us what you guys are doing.
Yeah, very much same thing Scott's talking about. Not many people want to come to Wichita Falls. Not many people want to come out to West Texas, to San Angelo. Having Angelo State here, certainly trying to work with Angelo State and their group of people that want to become teachers. Just looking at the numbers, I mean, we all know that there's a shortage, but this semester we've got 37 people that want to become teachers at Angelo State. We have 20 in our system in San Angelo ISD, and only 4 of those are at the secondary level. So, that's not a very good outlook whenever we only have 4 that are doing student teaching this semester. And certainly trying to get with those and see if they have any interest in coaching, and visiting with them about that is something that we always try to do. We also have something from Angelo State where they have their students that possibly want to go into education with field experiences, where they come out and observe our coaches, observe our teachers, and that type of stuff. And so that's a positive aspect in working with those people and hoping that they get into education and want to stick around in San Angelo. Certainly something that Scott said in regards to teacher salary. We're one of the lowest out in West Texas. Coming from Houston, the starting teacher salary is $55. Here in San Angelo last year was $41.5. And so this last year, our board was, we were excited that our board moved forward and gave our teachers a $3,500 raise. So that now starting salaries for us is at $4,500. But on top of that, now we've got to get creative, bringing people in from the Metroplex or from the Houston area, from San Antonio. Certainly being creative with stipends. We do pay days in San Angelo ISD. Of course, that varies from sport to sport. We pay, different stipends such as a athletic facility coordinator, a stadium coordinator, an academic coordinator, especially at the high school level, our head coaches, to be able to try to compensate those coaches that are coming from those big venues such as the DFW area or Houston. Just like Scott said, our coordinators, our head coaches are given periods that they have an opportunity to go down to the middle school level to work with their kids. That's something that usually does not happen in the larger cities. And so we have to take advantage of that, give that benefit to those coaches that are coming in, that they can get down there and work with those coaches, something that they may have not been able to do in the past. But again, along with Scott, just trying to find innovative ways that we can get people to come out to West Texas. When we're going to interview somebody, especially in Zoom, I hadn't really worried about it if they grew up out here in West Texas, because they understand everything that goes on. The big thing, the travel that comes along with coming out here. But for those that are not from this area, we certainly want to have them come out here and do a face-to-face because we want them to see what the travel is going to be like. We want them to see the area, the town, etc., to make sure that they know what they're getting into when they come out to West Texas, because it's not like the big city life. So anyway, I'm excited to hear what Brad has to say up there in his neck of the woods.
Brad Thiessen at Amarillo ISD, other than giving every coach a big old jacket to stay warm, what are you guys doing?
Well, we don't have any problem getting people up here. Everybody wants to come to Amarillo, so we have to narrow down the list. We have the same issues that everybody else has. We have our ways of paying them, and I feel pretty good about our teacher pay. I believe our starting teacher pay is right at 51, so that helps us with our younger coaches and trying to get them in. The thing that I want to talk just a little bit about is what I'm really excited about, kind of see how it works, is our HR department put together an incentive program using the ESSER funds. I mean, we all have the ESSER funds that have to be spent over the next 3 years. And so for the next 3 years, we're doing a program in which is set up, designed to retain our teachers in the position that they're in. Not just our teachers, but all our professionals, all our maintenance workers, all the way down. It won't include administrators and it won't include central office, but it pretty much includes everybody else. So basically the highlights of it is if they stay in the position that they're in, they will get $1,000 next year. If they stay in it again, they'll get $1,000 the second year. And then if they stay in that same position for the third year, then it's $2,000. Now, where I think the big incentive will be on our HR went in and they've classified certain campuses as hard to fill campuses. And they went in and found, like, for example, we have 2 of our 4 high school campuses that they went back for the last 5 years, and they've got the numbers to show that those campuses are harder to fill position wise. And so all those numbers that I just gave you, 1,000, 1,000, and 2,000 will be doubled. And so you're talking about in those hard to fill campuses, we have two high schools, we have 3 middle schools and 6 elementaries. And anybody in those positions that stay in those positions will go 2,000, 2,000, and then 8,000. So you're talking about a little money at the end of this that I've already had some coaches say, well, that's going to keep me from retiring. I mean, and so what that means is what it tells me is they're already saying, I'm going to stay right here and do this because I'm seeing a pretty good chunk at the end of this 3 years in those hard to fill campuses. So I think that's going to help us. It may not help us with our head coaches because head coaches generally move around based on trying to win games versus salary, but our assistant coaches, especially our middle school coaches, it may keep them in those positions a little bit better. So I'm kind of excited to see how that's going to work.
Thank you, Brad. In Abilene, we really have a challenge at our 2 high schools. And we filled that with just finding volunteers that are teaching at the campuses and then paying them a one sport stipend. And that really hasn't been fruitful for us. And so I'm working with our 2 high school principals right now to do an incentive program that would make some of those coaches who are assistants willing to do a third sport. And it looks something like you'd get paid that third sports stipend plus an incentive stipend, $3,000 to $5,000 additional. So if that gets passed, we could have some coaches who are choosing to do a third sport at the high school level making between $18,000 and $22,000 for their coaching stipends. So I just think all of your guys' ideas, being creative, we're leaving that amount of money anyway because we don't have somebody to do it. So appreciate all of you guys sharing that information. This time, I'm going to turn it over to Bob DeYoung. And Bob, you can start us on the state business.
Very good. Thank you, Phil. This has really been a tremendous meeting. I wanted to take a minute to thank our 3 state sponsors that were here today. We had some outstanding presentations by those 3. Committee reports were excellent, very informative. And I got to tell you, Phil and Max, the discussions that we just heard on House Bill 4545 and coach and teacher retention were both outstanding. So kudos to all you guys that participated. A lot of learning for me took place and probably for y'all. I have one comment on Brad talking about starting teacher salaries. And when I add the stipend that we were here a minute ago, if you start at $51,000 for a teacher and then you're making $15,000 to $18,000 in stipends, that's a pretty good wage for a first-year teacher coach. I think back to my first year, I know you're going to laugh, but my teacher and coach salary together was $10,000. So that was just a couple of years ago that we had that. So probably most of you can't think that far back, but in I guess it was 81, that's what it was in Texarkana. So thank goodness we're past that. Couple items on state business. Fall Forum Summary, we had 147 attendees at that event at the San Marcos Embassy Suites. It went very, very well for that day-and-a-half event. A lot of good learning took place, a lot of good sessions. Had a really nice reception. It was kind of fun watching the attendees and the sponsors interact at the reception Tuesday evening, because so many of the people that were there just liked seeing each other in person. And I know we're missing that today, but hopefully soon we'll be able to have an event where we're shaking hands and doing the fist bumps, but with you guys. But for right now, the San Marcos event was a huge success. If you were not able to attend, but say you paid your $65, those tech videos and all the sessions will be available probably in a couple of weeks. And then on the same line, the tech videos from state conference, those are all up and available for you online on the THSADA website. For different reasons, many of you probably can't attend either state conference or our 2 other events. Some of it's logistics about your schedule, or it's distance in travel, or it's expense, or maybe your school district isn't allowing administrators to travel right now. So what I'd encourage you to do if you're not able to attend is go ahead and pay a registration, and that way you have access to all the things that we cover, all the videos, whether it's a 5 or 6 class session at our Fall Forum or a 5 or 6 class session at the Spring Sponsor Showcase in March, or the all 15 classes that we teach at state conference. So consider that if travel is an issue for you guys. We heard a good report on membership. Last year, our high was around 1,400, and we've only had 1 month of renewing membership, and we're already more than halfway past that. So we're looking to try to get to 1,600 with an ultimate goal someday of hitting 2,000. And I think we mentioned, Mark may have mentioned, we're trying really to hit on the small school AD coach that because of their schedule, they haven't been able to attend. But we are going to have some programming scheduled at our state conference in June on the early days of the conference that will try to reach those people who may need a different type of content for either a new AD or a small school AD may have some sessions they can attend, but there'll be more coming to you guys on that soon. Council, we heard, is the 17th and 18th. And then the day after will be a webinar done by AD Insider with Pat Cohan, who does our video work. And I got a last minute notice that the hotel for council is the Sheraton in Georgetown. So that's on the UIL website. So I don't know how big of a hotel that is, but I would try to get rooms pretty soon if you intend on going. Spring Sponsor Showcase will be March 1st and 2nd, and that will also be at Embassy Suites in San Marcos. And then our June conference will be, I think, June 11th through 15th at the Kalahari again. So we'll begin registration for the Spring Sponsor Showcase probably in November, and probably in January or February, we'll begin registration for state conference. That's really all that I have to add. Had one sad note to end my report with. I've been watching the news flashes, and evidently there's been a shooting at Timberview High School in the Mansfield School District. I don't know if the suspect or suspects have been apprehended, but there's multiple reports of injuries. So if you know Philip or anybody down in the Mansfield area, you might want to keep them in your thoughts and prayers. That's an ongoing situation. So we'll hope for a good outcome there, but it looks pretty difficult right now. So that's my report. Phil, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Bob. Our next scheduled joint meeting is January the 26th. This will be hosted by Max Catwinkle. Max, do you have any information that you want to share at this time?
Not yet. We'll secure a site, but that date is set, and we'll have something good and get that information out quick.
Thank you. Folks, just want to say thanks for what you do for student athletes and coaches and programs. And I just feel honored to work with each and every one of you. And thank you for taking the time to attend our meeting today. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a good day. See you soon.